Welcome to Paul Taggart's Elphen Chronicles and this free-to-view bonus feature in which we share with you a snapshot of the extraordinary work that has gone into the making of my Elphen Chronicles waistcoat. We invite you to join us on our journey through this beautiful part of the world as we make our way to the workshop of textile artist Ruth Black. Step along with us into Ruth's weaving shed and workshop as Eileen and I get to see for the first time how Ruth intended to bring our collective ideas to life. So this had to be totally dismantled to bring it down from Harris, didn't it?
Yeah.
So that must have taken some deconstruction and reconstruction. We
minimised the deconstruction so that it was really, basically we only took off the bits that joined that side to that side. This side came as a whole, that side came as a whole. And it all went back together remarkably smoothly. The one place that you mustn't stand is exactly where you're standing.
Yes, I'll stand well over here, away from the shuttle.
You can come to this side and stand behind
the side of the shuttle, yes.
But it's just that the shuttle
could come off at any angle.
Sharp,
I know.
And it could come flying.
After a day of that, you don't need to go jogging, do you, really?
It beats going to the gym any day. Let me put in a different colour and you'll see how it can kind of totally change the look of the pattern.
Very subtle colour mixing this.
Yes. I'm just...
If there's a demonstration of complementary colour mixing there, it is green and red.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that.
No.
You need some patience to do this, though. I mean, the complexity of that is just amazing.
And it must remind you of the old mills that you worked in the first year out of college.
Oh, I'd forgotten it.
Used to take days to set these
and
things.
Those are the old mills.
Really wide ones too,
Yes.
like 3 times this width. And
yes, I mean this is just 696 ends, so it's not too bad. It takes me about 3 hours to tie in a warp.
Ruth, is this one of your original patterns that's on?
Yes, this is a random herringbone. When I started weaving Harris tweed, I thought there's no point in me spending time weaving something that I could walk into the mill shop and buy. I wanted things that were different, interesting,
unique to yourself.
And also mostly what I'm weaving are 2 metre lengths with fringed edges, fringed ends. So I'll weave 2 metres and then wind it on so that I've still got this warp.
Yeah.
The warp there. And I'm just going to tie that because at this stage I'm not trying to make a neat cloth, otherwise I would have threaded that through in the right pattern.
Yeah.
But if you're going to have this fringe on a garment, you could have a very pretty tweed here that was a mix of contrasting warp and weft, but then the fringe is totally plain if it was all one colour.
Yeah.
So if you look at what I've got on the warping bank there, you'll see I've got several different shades of blue, from a light blue through to a navy. several shades in between.
Yeah.
And it means that the fringe, it's going to read as blue for the woven part of it,
Yeah.
but the fringe is going to have some interest in it rather than just be a single colour. Right. I'm just going to untwist some at the back here. And generally by the time you get to the end of a warp you are getting these twists.
Yes.
You know, most of the weaving is plain sailing and you're not having to do this, but this is just, I mean, to be honest, I could cut this off at any stage. But I knew I wasn't going to have it cut off and rethreaded in time for you coming.
Okay.
So I thought I'll leave a bit on so that you can actually see.
But all thread does is when you're knitting, I mean, a bit towards the end, the skein is starting to twist in on itself, which is the same principle, isn't
Yes.
it? Yeah.
When you put the warp on, you're basically doing it in bundles of 12 threads coming through this raddle. And you've got them, I'll show you up here, this crisscross bit, they're going 1, 1, 1, crossing over. But down here, at this end, it's bundles of 12. And it's the bundles of 12 that come through here. So you've got your 1, 1 crossover for tying it in so that the threads are all in sequence. But the bundle here, like this, is twisted because it just twists naturally. It twists naturally because we're working with singles yarn, which has no ply in it. So it's been spun, but it's not been
So it's plying itself.
So it's plying itself. It's trying to ply itself, yes.
Yeah.
It's like painting in a way. It's understanding the nature of the medium and then getting the best out of it. So
And,
you're working with them.
There are advantages and disadvantages to working with wool. The disadvantage is that it's quite sticky. The fibres on it catch from one strand to the next. And so there is this tendency for them all to catch on each other, whereas if you had something like cotton or linen or silk, it would be smooth and pull through. On the other hand, the advantage of it is that wool is a terribly forgiving fibre with quite a lot of natural inbuilt elasticity in it, and it will allow you to do quite a lot of pulling it about, and give me another 10 centimetres or so before I change. But you can see how the pattern looks totally different.
Oh, it's complementary colours,
With the green as against the grey.
Yeah.
And if, in fact, let's just do it now. If I take that out and put something with very little contrast in it, I haven't got a red bobbin, but I've got a dark brown one here. I'll put this in.
It's interesting because it's visual colour mixing, because it's like pointillism. You're getting these tiny points next to one another.
Yeah.
And they're...
This is very much visual.
Now what you see is the pattern's almost completely disappeared, and what you're seeing is the stripy warp.
Yeah, fascinating, isn't it?
So you get completely different effects. So when I set up a 50-metre warp, that was going to be 54 metres, of which about 52 will be usable.
Right.
And that 52 metres, and I'm working 2-metre lengths so that I can use it to make my wraps and my capes and things like that, and scarves. So I'll get 25, 26 lengths out of that 50 odd metres.
And a lot of exercise.
And a lot of exercise, yes. The plan is...
Handmade by artists in the Highlands of Scotland, the process originally started many months earlier with our first visit and further discussions during a follow-up meeting in which our partner and design director, Sunita Gahir, set out her vision for this unique waistcoat. You will come to appreciate that this is painting with thread as you watch Ruth explain her creative interpretation of my original artworks. Welcome to my studio in the Highlands of Scotland, from where we bring you Paul Taggart's Elphen Chronicles. As a young child, I was a very solitary individual. I loved to play on my own, especially in my grandmother's garden. Part of the garden was cultivated, but the most of it was wild. And I loved walking through the long grasses and weeds and flowers that grew there. I remember those summer days, chasing butterflies and searching for insects and frogs under stones and logs. At the bottom of this garden, the very bottom of the garden, there was a small rise. And once I was beyond this small rise, I was hidden from my grandmother back in the house. Just at the bottom of the rise was a small area of different grasses. The large grasses diminished, and here was a swathe of fine green grass, and it grew in a perfect circle. And I remember one day, with the sun on my eyelids as I sat on that rise looking down on that grassy area, just closing my eyes for a moment and reopening them, there was a movement, and I recognized it as a blue butterfly. I know there are blue butterflies everywhere, but there weren't any in my grandmother's garden. I knew that because I'd chased many a butterfly. There were cabbage whites, there were tortoiseshells, red admirals, but I'd never seen a blue one there. So I was fascinated by it, but as I tried to focus my eyes on it, it disappeared. So I closed my eyes again and opened them just slightly, and the blue butterfly came back. And I thought this was incredibly strange. So I kept my eyes half closed, pretending I was asleep. And I watched this butterfly flutter around, and it was soon joined by another, and then another. And they began to fly in a circle, a clockwise circle around this green swathe of grass. You may say, well, you were probably asleep. I had, after all, closed my eyes. But this was not the only occasion it happened. After that time, I went down to that spot again and again throughout the summer, and the blue butterflies came back. And soon, I became absolutely entranced by their magic. As an adult, I always wanted to capture the essence of this magic, which is how, in the mid-90s, I found myself bringing to life the mysterious creatures that are the Elphen. During the light of day, I would take up my brush and watercolour paints to work on a set of 18 unique illustrations that were enchanting me. As I painted, I became so engrossed that all other paintings and books were forsaken in order to free my imagination and allow me to concentrate on completing my first book in the Elphen Chronicles, in which I recount a particular legend involving the Elphen swarm leader Weistcoat and an itinerant artist by the name of Artemis Glynn. However, it had always been my hope to set aside enough time to work on a collection of oil paintings with which to depict another significant event in elfin history.
I have cut out your waistcoat, but it's just the pieces.
Lovely. Elfin blue.
That's the colour you chose.
Yes. Oh, gorgeous.
This is the lining.
Ah, that's really nice, isn't it?
Which I think they've made a lovely job of.
Yeah.
Now you won't actually see the lining on the waistcoat unless you open up the waistcoat, because there will be a facing down. There's the facing
just
for the
inside.
back.
Right.
So round the neck and round the armholes and down the front there will be a facing.
Right.
And it'll be interfaced to make it a reasonably substantial. You know, not heavy.
Yeah.
But it's a fine.
Those two colours actually go very well together.
Well, you chose them. So
Oh, right. No wonder they go well together.
Yeah, and that's the gold for doing the slipcover for the book.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that is a beauty.
So
that really
that
is a
will-
gold, isn't it?
That will be
Shimmering.
on the outside with the
And-
lining on the inside.
Yeah.
Perfect.
see the
Let's
two
see them
together.
against each other, Ruth. Oh, look
Wow.
at that.
Oh, they really suit, don't
But
they?
look at that on the monitor.
Yes, that looks wonderful.
Look at that,
Yeah.
Ruth. Isn't that fab?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
that's
that's
really
exciting. Look at those.
yeah.
So
No,
those are the golds.
Sunita should be well pleased with those.
I love the lining.
Don't she?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm pleased
Oh, I love
with the
it.
lining.
Yeah, it's very nice.
I have done sample stitch out. This
yeah,
is what
this is the
Sunita wanted
the kissing
to
elfin.
go on the back of the waistcoat up here.
It needs colour in the bodies, doesn't it? Because they look.
The only thing you have to worry about is if they look as if they don't have any clothes on at all, which would be a slight
So
worry.
we possibly need to.
We can, I mean, all this is up for grabs. I was
Is it?
testing the stitch pattern
Yes.
rather
Okay.
than the thread colours. I particularly like this variegated thread.
It shows the cells up, doesn't it?
That
It shows the
really
cells
works,
very
that
well.
one.
Whereas
But
this,
that's
tends
quite
to get-
flat.
yeah, tries to get.
But it's not really possible. You can either have both of the wings in this one,
Yeah.
or I could add in some veining.
Oh, that would be nice.
And that actually would then work. That would work across the bodies as well, wouldn't it?
You know, so you would
Yeah.
have just a fine row of stitching, this thickness here.
Yes.
So that could be done just as a running stitch.
That would be. That would.
So
That'd
if
be very nice.
But I don't think it's needed on this one.
No.
But I think if we put it on this one, that would just lift that.
Lift it a little bit.
Now,
Because you can actually on the monitor here, you can actually see the veins. Actually, I'm
the
glad I've got this
bodies,
camera for
I
that reason.
tried to do the folds
Yes.
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 that you could see on your painting.
It's very difficult because they're semi-transparent, which is a very difficult
is
thing
very
to.
difficult. This is a challenge.
And the scale, because she said she wanted it just 10 centimetres across.
Yeah.
The only thing I would miss one is I wonder whether that line work there could be taken across the leg so that because it looks as if her legs are bare right to the top there. I'm just wondering whether we could, as we have lost it there really, whether you could lose that little bit.
They need a darker patterning on them just to emphasise it. But
I think
Ruth, the way you've got those trails underneath the wings.
I think that's superb. I
They're
think all of it.
superb.
I think all of it is superb. In fact, I like this one as it is.
It's quite difficult to see. But what we could do, which would probably help, would be if we used more than one colour of thread.
Oh, I see what you mean.
If you give them a self-coloured skin, in a sense, that would overcome a lot of that, I think.
Can we go to the computer and I'll
You
show
can
you?
indeed,
I
yes.
had it there showing how the stitching
How the stitches
should
would
look.
work. How would yes.
But to edit it, it's much easier
Oh, there
if I
it
do
is,
it like
yes.
that.
Yes.
Is it possible to bring up the original file on there alongside that at all?
I
Ruth, or
can,
not?
yeah, if I open.
Right.
So you've got the colour is shading there. You've got at the top it's yellow and then it goes down to a pinky colour.
I can see exactly why you've done that on this side. The lines across these are like tattoos, if you like. They're directly on the skin, and then the other lines are supposedly the garment, if you like, that's falling down.
Right.
So that should, in a way, I can. You see, I've exposed the whole leg there. I think if you take just one or two of those across there.
So these bits, you're saying that if I take some of those lines down like that.
This one's fine actually, because you've taken the lines across there, which is fine. I mean, they could come further across, because those are lines around the leg. So in fact, those lines would continue through and they would flow into the garment, if you like. But these are the tattoo marks on the leg itself. So those could be taken across. It's the other one really, mainly, I think, because of the way that I've drawn it. What you're saying is that these bits, these could be taken right across.
Should be coming across like almost like that.
Yes. They sort of swoop down into you've actually got them there, haven't you? You've got those coming across, so they should be. They're a continuation of that, really.
So this bit, if I bring that there,
that's perfect. Apart from not going across the arm,
but not going across the arm.
But that's it.
But
You've got it.
I can play around
You've got
with that.
Absolutely. That's it.
And
the same with the other.
If we go to the other side.
Yeah.
I've got another thought for the body. If you look at the original file, it's just another way of looking at it. The body of the Elphen on the right, if you use the same threading as you did for the wings of the Elphen on the left, and then use the threading from the right wing onto the left body,
that's easy enough.
And that would get us over that hump of them.
I think that
would
make the difference.
Yes, I think.
And the way you've got those trails under the wings is spectacular. I mean, you wouldn't expect to see that fine.
I think to create all of that in stitching is tremendous.
It is.
Interpreting
it's quite fun.
Painting with thread.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there are limitations on what you can achieve.
Absolutely.
Of course.
You can't achieve at that scale with embroidery thread what you can achieve on a big oil canvas. You know, they're different mediums, you get different effects.
Absolutely.
But I'm happy with it in a particular...
But you're working with a medium again, and you're getting the maximum out of that medium, and that's
the other thing you've got to understand is the original for this is not an oil, it's a watercolour.
Yeah. It is, yes.
Yeah. So when you get a watercolour up on screen, Ruth, the computer screen, because of the nature of the way it works, will bleed through that watercolour anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and cameras can't capture.
It's hard to interpret a line and wash though, because a line and wash painting is a simplification of an object or whatever, and you have to read a lot into that. And so to translate that into another medium, which is not line and wash, is very very difficult.
Phenomenal.
And I think you've done a fantastic
Absolutely
job.
Phenomenal. What I think is astonishing is that you're prepared to go through all this trouble of trial and error as well to get to it, which is.
So that's the shape of the waistcoat, and then the idea is to have the wings going from here to here across that buttonhole, which is kind of your waist height.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I dyed and I deliberately crushed silk. I don't know if you can see. It's a silk with a lurex thread in it.
Look at
So
that.
it shimmers.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
So it's got a shimmer to. Thought that was going to. I know you didn't want anything shiny.
No, but shimmer's different.
But shimmer's different. and elfin wings, I feel they need to shimmer.
That's like the stuff of which the garment's made. I mean, that's really just like the cobwebs.
Oh, I love that. Oh, isn't that amazing?
You gave me this.
Yeah. Which is the logo.
But you said you weren't too bothered about the colours specifically, so long as it was something that kind of worked with that.
Yeah.
If it had been too blue, I felt it was lost on there, which was why I went for the green, because it's got some blue components in it, but we've got the option for the yellow. But do you see how that, depending on which way you look at it, it's red or blue?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a eureka moment.
It's a blue warp with a red weft.
Look at that.
And when you do that,
That's wonderful.
That is just stunning.
it just kind of, and as I turn that round,
You get a different effect.
That's fascinating, what it does to the...
God, it's going to be impossible to film when
Because
you're wearing it. You're going to get Moira patterns everywhere.
yeah, you will,
What fun.
because you really do when you.
Yes,
it's
when you're
fascinating the
moving.
way the colour mixes in these
If I-
greens,
Isn't it
isn't it?
glorious?
The greens go... And then the dark greens go quite different.
Yes,
This
and then
one-
when this goes over,
was-
this
what
is
is it?
something else again.
A red and. a
Now
red
that
and
one you
gold.
wouldn't expect to work.
I think the blue's nicer though, don't you?
Well, my
think it's a
my
mix.
thought was, you see, that we might do that for the bottom half. Of
Oh,
the
I see,
wing,
right.
And that
That's
for the
how
top
I'd read
half.
your thing.
I think that's brilliant.
So
That's how
so
I read
that,
Ruth's email.
Oh,
so
right,
that-
I didn't
that-
realise
So
that.
that you don't actually
I didn't realise you'd
see
use it
any
both.
of the green on its
Raw,
own,
yes.
but you
Put
have
those side by side, you see the effect. Look at that.
that.
Look
Oh
at
no,
that.
that's
Oh,
terrific.
Isn't that terrific?
So that's the top half of the wing, and that's the bottom half of the wing.
It's funny because those colours are so electric on their own, and yet they're very subtle when you put them
you-
together.
Surface colour mixing.
So,
Here we go.
on
Glazing.
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 It is glazing.
Line, tone and glaze.
The other thing is that I don't feel inclined to try and get totally rid of these creases.
Nope.
The creases are
I think
beautiful.
the creases
They
actually
look like
help with
no,
the
they
veining.
do. Absolutely. They're
Natural-
essential. They look
Natural
wonderful.
random veining. I was inspired thinking, and you said you just found these when you were going through your
I'm just yes. I mean, over there we keep
bits.
bits. You know, my mother taught me when I started sewing.
Never throw anything away.
You keep it, even the smallest scrap. Now, I've had to actually learn not to keep even the smallest scrap, because I would need Buckingham Palace to house all my scraps if I did that. My inclination when I do the cutting, which we can go and do just now if you want, I have the file set up. My inclination is that I will not concern myself about orientation of the two wings, so that this wing may well look different from that wing as you're looking at it, because on one it might be cut that way and on the other it might be cut that way, which means that one might look more pink than the other, one might look
Got you,
more gold
yeah.
than the other. Is that an issue?
I don't think so, because if you have two wings which are catching light in different ways,
Yes.
when I'm painting the Elphen,
They'll catch
one you're
different
looking
lights, isn't
through
it?
the wing and the other one you're looking with the light reflecting on it.
Yeah,
So
and your body is shaped.
I think random is best in this instance,
Yeah.
because random gives you the flexibility. What's
again,
the
it's
play of
at some
light?
point you have to think of the medium
Yes.
and what the medium does
play of light
and what
on
it is. You know, that it is a textile and you have to go for what the textile does
Perfect.
best. I think that's...
Let's go and cut the wings.
Okay.
Oh, right. Wow.
Have I showed you the laser cutter in operation?
No, I'm looking forward to this. We invite you to join me as I share with you my latest illustrated book from Paul Taggart's Elphen Chronicles. Webstrand, the Tooth Gatherer. Fast forward a few years later, and once more the lure of the Elphen was too great to resist. I began work on another unique collection of Masterworks oil paintings, which were to take me well over 5 years to create. As before, the Elphen folklore of Webstrand the Tooth Gatherer took over my life as I worked on these all-important masterworks. The composition for each Elphen portrait and scene-setting painting was originally based on my first draft of the narrative. Soon, however, I found myself changing the interpretation of the story within these paintings as the world of Webstrand the Tooth Gatherer took hold. ultimately, the developing paintings had an ever-changing influence on the story. Until both my paintings and story reached a natural conclusion. But this was merely the completion of the first stage. We were now about to embark on the next exciting phase, for the book had to be designed. We had a million ideas to explore. Why not some dedicated elfin music? At the very least, the elfin song, which comes into the story. Our wish list was growing as we added special items. The studio was filling with examples of uniquely produced work by talented craftspeople. What if we filmed the work in progress to share online, so that people could peek behind the scenes at the various creative processes? And how about something else, which is a little bit different, something unique to us? A new concept, something that reflects the work we've been doing online for many years. An illustrated audiobook, maybe. What about something more than that? Welcome to our artist's first edition video storybook. We invite you to listen along with me as I personally read through my unabridged original story. Webstrand, The Tooth Gatherer. Available as a box set containing all 9 chapters for streaming here on Patreon. And so you don't have to pin that down or anything?
You don't have to pin it down because nothing actually touches it other than a beam of light. Now, if we start off with this wing, for the silk, I want to cut those 2 lines, and that will make one wing. So it gives me the dimensions of that there, and I just have to set this so that it's going to cut in the right place. I'm just going to set it so that it's silk that it's cutting. It's the little red light.
So it's going around the edge of the...
It's just going around the edge.
That's quite...
And that's it.
That's it? Wow, that's fast.
There it is. Look it.
My goodness.
One wing.
Sizzle, sizzle.
There's a nice smell.
Burnt protein.
Wow.
Look at that.
Fantastic.
When you look at that edge, it's sort of
Basically
char
sealed.
sealed the edge.
So
If you were to do it with a synthetic fabric, it would totally melt that edge. So if you see some polyester laces, they've been done this way because the laser actually seals,
Yes.
Yeah.
melts the edge.
That's
So that's one wing. Do you want to go ahead and do the other wing
Oh, why not?
Why not?
since we're
Go
here?
for it. Absolutely.
So that's the silk cut. Right, blue for the top of the wings.
Wow.
Wow, you wouldn't expect something as delicate as this to...
To be able to be cut like that.
Yeah. Gosh. Look at that.
And I'm deliberately not pressing it.
Yeah.
So letting some wrinkles in it, yes.
Yeah, look at that. You can see it. That's amazing.
This time we're doing blue, so it's that one and that one. And that will cut this piece. Changing the settings because it's a much flimsier thing. See how quickly that one's going round?
Because it's only thin material. Wow, that was fast.
Right, where's your green?
Well, which one is it? This?
It's the
Oh, I see, right.
No, it must be the other way.
Must be the other one.
Because they are slightly different.
They are different,
Well, they
yes.
are because they're freehand drawn, so they're bound to be different. And not just a duplication of one to the other.
That's it.
That's better.
The one
Yeah, that's it.
So that,
Wow.
that
Oh.
works, doesn't it?
And against the blue, we can
so it's all
Wow.
Yeah. Terrific.
there. So,
Lovely. It'd be very difficult to get this level of accuracy cutting with freehand, wouldn't it?
well, it's possible.
Almost
The
impossible.
thing
On
is,
something which is so
any
flexible.
method cutting by freehand, you're going to distort the fabric.
Exactly, yes.
So even if you've got a very sharp scalpel, which was how I started,
Yeah, I can
you know,
imagine.
I did it with a very sharp scalpel. I was changing blades on the scalpel
Yeah,
every 10 minutes.
I can imagine. As you said, this has given you so much more scope and flexibility, hasn't it?
Yes, and I find that I can draw straight onto the computer.
Yes.
You know, if the idea's in my head, and I'm using a mouse here, but
Yeah.
through the computer, which is through the wall
You can use
there,
it.
Stylus.
I'm actually using a graphics tablet. Right, let's
That
take
doesn't
that
matter.
through and put it down on the table so that we can see it on the navy blue.
Yeah, that's the important thing, isn't it? Wonderful. Wow.
That's basically going to go like that, and that will be positioned so that that bit
Yes.
will be cut off, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it'll be caught in, and that will be.
So it's not straight on, it is actually angular. It's at a diagonal cut.
Yeah.
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 Because I didn't see Sunita's initial sketch, so. As much as anything else, I wanted it to be a surprise for us, you see.
The
Oh,
original
is that,
sketch.
is that hers?
That's her sketch.
Is that? Really? Oh, wow.
So there's careful positioning has to be done.
Yes, absolutely.
Surprise is over now. I'm looking at Sunita's designs.
So now that will
With
all
that,
just be
yes,
stitched with
all
this dark
Yeah.
thread.
Yeah.
So it'll be a satin stitch, this sort of stitch.
Right, right.
About that sort of
With-
thickness,
Yes, yeah.
but then there can be single lines as in these bits
Yes.
as well
Yeah.
to make additional texture.
Yes.
And my plan is to do those fine lines of running stitch freehand on the sewing machine
All right.
rather than on the embroidery machine.
Right.
Now there's two reasons for that. One is that it is perfectly possible, particularly because we've deliberately not pressed this fabric, there might be odd bits that haven't caught in on the embroidery machine, which I would have to doctor by hand. If I'm doctoring it by hand as part of adding additional freehand decoration onto it, just means that it will not be exactly as you have painted it in the original.
Oh, no, that's...
I'm going to be using a bit of artistic license
Absolutely.
there. It will be
No, that's
where
fine.
I feel it needs to go.
Absolutely.
But
that's
the
fine.
important
For the
thing about
balance.
this, Ruth, is that you've caught the random nature of things and the fact that the veining in the wings is not symmetrical, it's not uniform, it is, I mean, it's not random because each elfin's wings have different veining patterns, but what you've executed thus far, that's there. So using artistic license is perfectly right.
The only other thing is And let me
three
get-
quills. I'm really
This is-
pleased with that.
Totally wrong colours, but it was just stitching out.
So that's the patterning.
This is not something that you can easily scale. You know,
Okay.
I can take something that size
Yeah.
and I can reduce it down to that size.
Yes.
But if I want to reduce it down to that size, I have to redigitize it.
Okay.
Which is it's fine, but this was the size that you sent me in
Yes.
the image.
But the computer can deal with that to that, which
No,
is...
no. That's two separate
Oh, they are two separate. Right.
files.
Fine.
So the thing is that you can get the deliberate detail of the
Yeah.
slight gaps in the feathering.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whereas here
It had to be more solid.
Yeah.
it's much more solid. Here I've tried to convey the shape of the inkwell, but I didn't really feel that I got it there. And ignore the colours, it was just what
Yes,
was on the machine.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interpreted very well, actually.
I think that's...
I think that's
It's
interpreted
what kind of scale do you want to go to? I don't think that anything smaller than that. Sunita's
well, it would
original
be-
idea was that it went on the collar.
Yeah.
But the collar, if I find the collar
too
piece, is too small. But I think it's a shame not... I have got a collar
I
piece
do
here.
like it that size, I must say.
That's a bit big, though.
So there's your collar piece. So that's what you've got.
Wow, that's small.
That's tight.
Yes.
It's tight. I can reduce that down a bit, but I'm
Well,
not
we're gonna read it.
sure if you're going to read it. Now, the other thing is we're going to have the runes across there.
We all live in a world of skepticism, disbelief and doubt. But imagine, if you will, one filled with mystery and magic. Here, wishes can actually come true in a way you would hardly believe. Let me share with you the chronicle of an earthling who goes by the nickname Fizz, whose creative imagination and zest for life leads her on a remarkable journey. A journey which was to change her life forever, on which her guide was none other than Webstrand the Tooth Gatherer. Watch as I depict the story of Webstrand the Tooth Gatherer through my scene setting, original Masterworks oil paintings. And the many storytelling illustrations that capture this epic tale. And listen as this chronicle of a wondrous journey is told. Well spotted, Fizz, Webstrand congratulated. Yes, it is an eye gem, but the flash doesn't develop until it's linked to its own special wearer. Owning an eye ring isn't just like wearing a piece of jewellery. It becomes the wearer's companion and can't be used by anyone else. And listen to the original musical soundtrack and soundscape that undulates through the good times and bad, the joy and horrors, the magical and real. If, like Fizz, you also come to believe in Elphen and search carefully along a star's path, you may find what appears to be a small glowing ember in the undergrowth. But be on your guard, for once you start the search, it can soon become a quest.
Just put it...
Just put it
I think
there.
okay there.
Right, now let's think about this. You've got the border on there. Is that the page border?
Oh, the page border.
Because she says
it's-
border. She's written here border.
It's this one.
Oh, on the on there. But we're putting the runes on there, aren't we? No.
No, the runes are on the buttons.
Oh, the runes on the buttons. That's right.
It's the jewelled borders on there, isn't it, Ruth? Glitter border.
I'll show you the particular one. But I found these lovely felts. And I thought
God, you
I can
mentioned
use
these.
and I can use them anyway.
That's a delicious palette, isn't it?
But I love the fact that there's different colours in it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not solid. So the idea was we were going to do the borders for this. We were doing it for the slipcover for the book was what we initially thought. But I thought it's worth keeping the same colour palette into here.
Yes, absolutely.
So what's shown as pink there would actually be green. So we were going to go for this, where it's this satin stitch. Fill stitch, but with the padding
underneath
of this.
with the padding,
to raise it, yes.
Yes, to raise it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one layer of padding that's the whole design, which would be this and stitched with this. So even if the felt shows through, we're actually going to like the felt rather than having it with the grey
Yes.
there.
That's it.
It'll enrich the surface rather than
And
dull it.
then it's a choice.
It's like embossing.
Which would you go for the jewels in it?
You can see it straight away.
You'd go for that one.
no,
You see,
that's
I
nice.
actually rather liked the blue.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, to get the variation.
You could go for either.
I take your point on that, actually.
So you're talking about putting the blue just under the jewels?
Just under the jewels.
All right, yes.
So that they're
Actually-
raised even more.
Yes, no,
And
that's
then
the
you get a variegated result.
So they really stand out.
Actually, that's a good point. Otherwise, it's too
the i-
samey.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
It's like embossing. That would work.
So we'll go with this, with the
I can
bluey.
see that.
The bluey one. I wasn't sure. I liked both of them.
I know.
And I'm going to use this felt for other things as well because I like it. Because it's only tiny amounts that we're actually using.
Yes.
Have a look on the screen, see what you think. It's a bit difficult.
It's a difficult one. This emphasises the yellowness, this emphasises the blueness.
One concern I have, okay, it just has the slightly deadening effect that metallic thread had.
Because of the blueness.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just
Yeah.
think that blue is slightly
Right,
on
let's just do...
It's not a green blue, is it? It's a slate blue, you see.
Yeah.
That glows. That doesn't glow.
Okay.
Those two contrast very nicely, and in certain circumstances they would work very nicely indeed. But that's slate to gold, whereas this is definitely emerald or jade to gold. Given your jade,
You've convinced me about jade. By saying jade, you've convinced me.
we've got, that's more the colouring in the frontispiece.
Yes.
That's slate.
Okay, let's
I
go
think
with
so.
this.
That's good. Yeah.
It's the deadening effect. That's just
Great.
me talking, but
No, that's fine.
And for both the waistcoat
Tell you where
pocket
that-
and for the slipcover.
I'll tell you where that one would work. On this series here. You see these
Yes,
borders
whether
here? So if we ever do those
If you
borders,
ever do
that's the
those,
one.
that's the one.
that's the one,
Yeah.
isn't
Yes,
it?
that's right.
Right.
You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's nothing to suggest that we mightn't at some point.
So what about this? Because
Now, that
I mean,
makes
I
me
love the
think.
detailing on that.
I love the detailing of it at that size, but it's
But obviously just
is
that
there
little bit to
somewhere
it.
you could use it?
This is about 3 quills, which is yourself, Sunita, and myself. It also stands for art, music, and painting.
Yeah.
So it has a double entendre. If that's that size, it conflicts with Elphen.
It does.
Elphen must dominate on this waistcoat. That's the size for it. But I think it would work above the pocket. I actually think it could work above the pocket.
Just there.
I think it could.
I think what I would like to do, I haven't had time to do it, but I can make that slightly more feathery.
Okay.
You know, not quite as solid. And I think if I make that not quite as solid, but keep it at that size,
and it went to the left of the pocket. In other words, the wearer's left, our right, because I've got the mic there.
Yes.
There's a good reason for having it on the
That's
left.
a good reason, actually.
I've got Paul's mic in there.
So the motif about there,
As close as you can get to the edge of the pocket on that side, yes. The balanced, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it,
yeah.
definitely.
Gold?
So it's not covered.
Gold?
now that was the other thing that I was going to say,
The
the
ink
colouring
pot.
of it, because obviously the colours of the image that you sent me was very dark blue, which is not
Yeah.
going to be
Oh, it's not
seen
gonna work.
against that.
Sunita's played around with this, and she's doing this in various interpretations of it, much like she did with the Elphen logo. She's done metallic versions, she's done inverted versions, she's done a gold version, because I think the gold version is going to be the one on the website. So I think if we went for a gold,
Gold against blue.
the
would-
gold against this,
I was going to say you could
Same as
either I mean if that's what the stitching on there
Yes.
is going to be, so gold feathers.
yeah, no, the feathers are always blue.
Oh, well, they'll not see them.
Yes, you will,
Well,
because not
a
the dark
metallic
blue.
blue, or I think it would probably be
That
better for
purple side.
feathers to actually have a rayon thread.
Okay,
You actually want it to be subtle rather than...
I wanted to be subtle.
Yeah.
If the ink pot and the nib are the gold on the border,
I don't like the ink pot as a different colour though.
you want the ink pot.
Well, I just think the ink pot, then you see the ink pot more than you see the
See
feathers.
Okay, so the feather.
My
and the ink pot-
inclination would be to say perhaps stick to rayon threads
Okay,
for this motif
Then they'll drop back a
rather
bit.
than. So it could be that the ink pot was that,
That would work. That would. I think that's it.
that's it.
and
I think
The-
that's it.
the feathery bits of the feathers that, but with the actual quill spine of the feather.
Oh, I see what
Oh, I
you
see
mean.
what you mean.
Oh,
That's
right.
pretty.
Oh, that's rather nice, actually, isn't it?
Well, to my
Oh.
mind, what I like about it is that you're actually going from the purple through the blue towards the green, and we're going to have the green jewels
In there.
on there.
Oh yeah,
You know, so you're.
that's a
The
nice.
only thing is, if that's the
Colour.
ink pot, that would actually stick out again. Although it's
You
quite
want the
subtle.
ink pot to drop down.
Let me get something a bit more subtle then.
I'll just make it the same colour as the feathers.
No, I was thinking the other way around. Would it work the other way around? Where that's the...
I see.
Da.
No, because that blue and that lighter purple don't work together. You can see they don't.
Right.
Oh, this is fun. This is what life's about, playing around with colour. Oh, that's all right.
I know, it is. I just like that. I just like that
Well,
colour.
put that back in now. You can take that one out, and those would work.
We couldn't have it that way around.
Yes. Yes. So
Those three.
ink pot, feathers, quill.
Quills, yes.
That's too pink. It doesn't
Yeah.
work with those. Immediately you can see it.
That I think is nice.
Okay. Fine.
Right.
I'm not against that. It's beautiful.
That is lovely. And then we don't see enough of the nib on this small size, do we? Of the quill.
No.
Or
No,
No.
the
they
nibs in the
disappear.
pot.
Yeah.
They disappear, so that's
Yeah,
irrelevant
yeah.
anyway.
It's too small. Yes.
So it's just
Fab.
that spine, which I've done in a self colour.
Yeah.
The spine would actually be the darker blue,
Yes. Yes.
which would help for you
Yes.
to actually read it as feathers.
Yes. Because you can see it in the bigger one.
And feel free
Yes.
to make a slightly bigger little cut in it as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I'll play around
yeah.
and just see
Yeah.
what I
To
can
make it a
get
little
Those
more
look
feathery.
in the
nice.
way of
Yeah.
cuts.
Yeah.
I wouldn't object to the bigger 3 quills going on the back of the slipcase, though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Because Quills is the publisher
Yes.
of the book.
Yeah.
So to have the quills on the back of the slipcase,
That would be
At that
that'd be
size.
good.
and then it means we can. I've got ideas for this, you see, for other things.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely.
Love it. Look at that.
Well, that's
Gosh,
I think we've ironed it
happy-
out, haven't
sorting,
we?
Happy
sorting everything
times.
out there. That's
Look at all
wonderful.
those wonderful colours.
These are fantastic, aren't they? They do.
Going to get a pen.
It's a nice
and
palette.
jot down a couple of notes just in case I've totally
I think,
forgotten it. By the
Ruth,
time.
I think what we
Well,
should
you
also
are-
do is make those 5 colours our core palette, shouldn't we? So that when we
there's
come to do other things, we've got our core palette there.
Okay, so they're all linked together.
They all link together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought those three would go together as well as they do.
I know.
But they do, don't
They
they?
do, don't they?
Right, I'm just going to make a note of the codes.
So that's the Elphen Quills corporate palette, basically.
So that's just a couple of small scraps so that I can cut out the felt background for there. So I'll go and do that first so that that's ready to go. This bit here gets cut in the gold.
Still going quite a bit of speed there. Oh, look at that.
Look at that!
That's extraordinary. It's fun.
Oh, I love my toys, I have to say. I do like my toys. So now I'm just going to cut out those two little circles.
These are the jewels to go on.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh my goodness. That's ridiculous. Look at
Oh, they're
that.
tiny, yeah. This is one of many free-to-view bonus features in which we invite you to peek into the process of the various elements that accompany my second book in the Elphen Chronicles. Don't miss out on the magical journey that we're enjoying with Lisa Mulholland, our musical director, as she sets about composing and producing the Elphen soundscape. You will progressively discover that Webstrand the Tooth Gatherer is so much more than just one book, as we share more with you from fellow artists whom we invite to work with us. Welcome to our artist's first edition video storybook, created, filmed and produced by us in our own studio here in the Highlands of Scotland. We invite you to listen along with me as I personally read through my unabridged original story, Webstrand the Tooth Gatherer, available as a box set containing all 9 chapters for streaming here on Patreon, accompanied not only by Lisa's evocative music, which wends its way through the entire 9 chapters, but also by my 20 masterworks, and the 116 vignettes, which are brought to life as I read from the pages of this video storybook, in the telling of the wondrous journey and epic tale that is the Elphen folklore Webstrand the Tooth Gatherer. This unique concept of our video storybook was inspired by the artistic interpretations of my original story and paintings by our fellow collaborators. Both Sunita, in her captivating book design, and our music director, Lisa Mulholland, in her exclusive compositions, reflect the mood of the story as it unfolds from light beginnings through more challenging times. The swarm kept to the wing. Swirling in colours all around her, she realised why. They were calling their farewells. But this was more than a call. It was a song. Although she understood not a word, Its meanings were unmistakable. It was a song of friendship, of things done together, and of things yet to come. Faster moved the kaleidoscope of colourful wing, and then, on a rush of air, the swarm re-entered the corridor as one. And was gone. Time seemed to retrace its steps. Here was the same fizz as before. Well, perhaps a little changed. Sitting on our bed in the gloom of the same night on which they had left. Welcome to our artist's first edition video storybook. We invite you to listen along with me as I personally read through my unabridged original story, Webstrand, the Tooth Gatherer, available as a box set containing all 9 chapters for streaming here on Patreon.
Oh, what fun. Now we go to another of the machines.
Yeah.
So I'll just step out of the way until Ruth's set up.
People have different ideas about whether it's art or not when you use machines.
Oh, that's crazy because
That's madness.
Which is crazy, but as I say, people have different ideas. There's some who think that unless you're actually doing every last bit by hand, it's not art. But I see using the computers and the embroidery
They're
machines
tools of the trade.
just in much the same way as using a paintbrush.
Absolutely.
It's just the
Absolutely.
intermediary device that allows, I mean,
your creativity is the thing that's important.
you know, short
Not
of
the
doing,
not the
short
tool
of
you
doing
use.
just finger painting,
It's just they're just different
you're
tools,
using
aren't they?
tools.
Absolutely. And you're pushing what they can do all the time, which is what the creative person does. You're not just saying it can just do this, but you're saying, you know, producing these elfin wings, for example. I mean, that's something where you know, you've got no rule book to go by. You've just got your own sensibilities and your own creativity, and that's the important thing.
Depending on what you're stitching, you use different backings. The aim of these is to support the fabric so that it doesn't pucker with the density of the stitching. So because I'm using silk, which is quite fine, I'm actually having to use quite a thick backing, but this will ultimately be torn away, and the only bits of it that will remain are bits that are behind the embroidery, which you want to be reasonably firm anyway. Now I have to leave one colour on that is going to provide a good contrast with the navy blue, and that will stitch the outlines and make sure that the placement of the silk is going to be correct. The threading path for this is quite complicated. Okay, that's going to be ready to go, but I now have to just do a final check of the design. The first stitch out is the outlines that are just going to give me placement of the waistcoat pieces. This is going directly onto that backing fabric,
Right.
and it's just showing me there's the cut edge of the waistcoat, there's the buttonholes, and this bit in the middle is the placket for the pocket. That's giving me the outline for stitching that, and then the tack down for stitching that, the satin stitch, and then the jewels. And then the outline for the wings, for the silk, the outline for the organza, the veining tack down, and then the veining proper. That's the design now gone to the embroidery machine. I'm now setting the colours and putting stop points in. Next thing is just to get it to do a trace. It's to make sure that it is going to fit onto the machine if the frames got moved or something like that. So this is just mapping out the limits to which it will stitch. Me to position that. Now this should be stitching out the border. That's the yellow border. Starting on the decorative stitching.
That's looking wonderful in the sunlight.
Sometimes it's quite difficult not to be rude to them because it just happens too often.
That's what I mean about the fact that you haven't lost the creativity in this, because the creativity just in designing the angle of the stitch to catch the light.
Yes, if I didn't have that, if I didn't have this.
Put another jewel in there, I think. Another jewel?
Yeah.
Another jewel in there.
You'll live with that one.
Oh, yeah.
I can redo that bit.
No, that's fine. Another jewel in there will be fine.
But it's only when you stitch something out that's when you realise that there is, in fact, that bit missing. So that's...
Those jewels have worked very well, haven't
They're
they?
shimmering in the sunshine.
Yeah.
You just have to have to ensure that there's sunshine whenever you're wearing your waistcoat. So the next stage is to put on these pieces. We reckon that is the position. It's the button that's roughly at your waist. So just the outline of the wing.
Now what happens if you get to this stage and you suddenly find, oh gosh, that's in the wrong place? You can unpick all that,
I can unpick that quite easily.
Can you?
Once you get to that,
fine.
That's a start again. But at this stage, if it's just the outline, it's relatively easy. In fact, I would take the whole thing off the frame, and underneath I would actually cut the spool threads under here.
Yes.
Just like in a sewing machine.
Well, it was still on that, right? And just pull it off.
And I would snip that because it's easier to get at, and then the top thread would just pull off. But that's looking right because that's going to give us the overlap in the right place. Just watching out for this pin to make sure we're not going too near that. Okay. I'm happy with that placement. I think it's giving a nice
balance to it.
Yes, balance without symmetry.
Yeah.
Off centre. This is the point at which one must not allow oneself to be distracted. That is that wing. And that's that one. This is where the laser cutter really comes into its own, because that precision of cutting would be very difficult to achieve. Obviously with fabrics, some fabrics more than others, the fabric kind of has a degree of flexibility in it, but you'll see odd little bits where it's not quite matching up with the outline. That should still be okay for being covered with the... Now,
because of the width of the...
Yeah, it's now just going to stitch a line for us to position the top shading for the wing and the bottom shading.
You really have to think about the layers here, don't you?
Yeah, getting the sequence right is quite important, and programming in the stops so that it knows that after it's stitched that colour, it's going to stop in the right place for the next one. Right.
I must admit, my heart would be in my mouth now if I were doing what you're doing now. Wow.
So, I'm going to position all the pieces just so that I know that they are fitting in the right place. Going to go there, and that one is going to go there. Okay, so right, that's one side.
Excellent.
What's happened here is that because the cut has gone on the bias of the organza, that bit has stretched long ways. I've got to kind of pull it up.
Pull it around, yes. But as we were discussing earlier, it doesn't really matter if it markings a little bit in places. It's part of the
It's part of the attraction
nature,
of it. We want it to look quite
wonderful.
ethereal. Right,
Gosh.
now I'm just going to take a bit of this. If I'm working with Harris tweed, I usually press this at this stage. But for this,
Just rubbing it down.
all I'm wanting to do is rub it down just to be
So
absolutely
fine.
certain that it's all caught in place. But you need something covering it, otherwise your fingers would catch in the edges of the fabric.
You know, that shouldn't work, but it does.
Right. Now, I just want to see how this thread behaves. I'm just going to keep an eye on this. Make sure it doesn't fit. There's quite a natural tension, springiness in the metallic yarns. And the reason why I've not got it on here, but taking that line across to here, is so that when it springs off, instead of twisting up on itself, it stays. Well, let's pop that in, okay?
Well, that colour's perfect, isn't it? The colour for that thread is perfect.
Now, on here, you can actually see what it's doing.
Oh, right.
So when I'm through next door, at the computer there, which is just linked to this one, so that I don't need to stand
See
and
where
listen
it
to the noise all the time, I can watch the progress of it. And if it runs out of bobbin thread or breaks a top thread or something like that, it'll flash up an alarm telling me that it's doing it. And it's telling me that we've got 44 minutes left for this to stitch out.
Wow.
So I don't know if you want to film 44 minutes of it or if you just
I'll
want
take
to
it
pop
at
the
the
little
same
sections. So at the moment it's just doing the zigzag, the open zigzag catch down on the applique fabric. So it looks very pink in here. And then when you come and look at it,
Wow.
from this angle, that is so yellow and blue, just like your.
I know, I can see it changing. Yeah, absolutely.
But I love the fact that we've got these variations in the colour, that it's not just a flat. I mean, it would have been very easy just to say, oh, that green silk goes, and just put a piece of green silk down, and oh, that yellow silk goes, we'll just put a piece of yellow silk down. But I think having that, the hand dyed silk.
It's amazing. It looks so different when you get the brown
And what I
outline.
did for the silk, for dyeing the silk, was I basically just wet the silk and I crumpled it up and I sprinkled dry dye powder over it
So
and then
it's
sprayed a
exploded.
bit more water onto it
Oh, right.
and then I shoved it in the microwave.
Wow. It's strange because you put the organza on top, the wings look transparent. It's really strange.
Yeah. Yes, because I think what you're seeing
Is the-
is that you're almost interpreting as though
That's
there's
the
lady
background.
behind it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it looks as though it's do that here, have to do that at home because this sewing machine doesn't like metallic thread.